How's it going, guys? This is Mad Sacker coming at you guys. Well, it's finally here. What if Naruto was Jedi Knight Part 1? So this will be Part 1 of my prequel interpretation of what if Naruto was Jedi Knight. So yeah, I guess let's jump off right into Episode 1. So, setting. This is 45 years before the Battle of Yavin. The Jedi Council, well, isn't a good state at the moment. They're gonna have a new member joining their ranks as a councilman. A young, a very young Jedi Master. His name is, well, Minato Namikaze. He'll be the second youngest addition to, well, the council. At the very young age of 30 years old, the second youngest member in the history of Jedi Order. Well, he's only second to present council member Mace Windu at the age of 28. And at this time, Minato, he's today is the final day. He'll be entered as a member of the council, with its head being of Grandmaster Yoda. But sadly, on this day, a secret of his will come out into the forefront. How on his day of being promoted to the council seat, shocking information will be leaked onto a multiple of holowebs, and there will appear of a video of Minato and his apprentice having let's just say a romantic little involvement. Yeah, let's just say it that way. Having a little fun. And his Padawan at the time was his wife. And his wife was named Kushina Uzumaki. Since at a young age, Minato progressed to the rank of knighthood at the young age of 20, which is pretty young for his age. And only a year later, he took on a young apprentice, a young Padawan, who was young, beautiful, and strong with the Force. High metachlorian count of 14,000, very high, above average for any Jedi Knight. She had promise. A great deal of promise, since she was prominent with Form 5. Specifically, when it came to Form 5, the Form 5 of Shien, focusing mainly just on, blaster deflection, using it as an offensive move, offensive abilities. And with Minato being, a master of the fourth form of the Jedi Order, Ataru, only truly second to Grandmaster Yoda with his hundreds of years of experience with the form. Minato and Kushina were prodigies in their own selves, with Minato having a very high metachlorian count, of exactly 15,450, a very high amount. Considered somewhat unnatural, being born pure Force with abilities that many Jedi and many Sith only dream of using because of such a high metachlorian count. On this fateful day, it will come out that Minato was having a romantic relationship with his Padawan. The council will have to commune and figure out what they would do with this young Jedi Master, who was who had such prominence, such abilities. He had the mantles of a councilman easily, and if they couldn't expel him from the order, that would be madness. Just he just moments ago, he was, well, about to be made a council member of the Jedi Order, the highest position you can truly ever have, and Jedi could truly ever aspire to. It's going to be given the highest position, but because of this, well, information, they couldn't, well, go forth. That would be a slander on the Jedi Order. So with this knowledge coming forth, they would deny his request of, well, deny his chance of ever joining the council. But they would not exile him. They would not ban him. That would be a waste. He has such ability in the Force, such command in the Force, and such potential. Even though this is a very great offense, they, well, mostly all the other council members, Keanu Mundi, Jedi Master, even Yoda, and even Mace Windu, though he is a very hard-ass traditionalist. He's 100% followed the rules completely on Jedi Order, but realizing, well, that one of his closest friends and, well, rivals, in fact, with the possibility of getting exiled, he would step forth and, well, tell all to his other council members that, well, even though he made a great mistake of forming attachment to his former Padawan, I still believe we should not press further on the matter. He would be denied. He should be denied of his council seat, and furthermore, ever be denied of it. For we will shun the Jedi Order, but we should not exile him. And I believe he should still keep the rank of Master. Demoting him won't change his command of the Force or his abilities, or his astonishing commitment to the Jedi Order. This is a falter, and a great one indeed, but many of us in the history of Jedi Order, even now, we have all had to deal with this emotions, with passion and love, because it can cause us fall to the dark side. Even though as I've always, well, been close to the dark side. My use of Form 7, even though I see no anger, no true hatred right now in this man's heart, in Minato's heart. So I believe he should be allowed to stay in the Order. And the council would agree to this almost unanimously. Yoda, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Yaddle, and the various other Mace Windu, and various other council members would all agree. Some on world, some on Curzon, some off, some on, well, missions at the time, and having to appear via Hollow. They would all, well, practically they will all agree. Let's say, yeah, they all agree. He should be allowed to be in the Jedi Order, but he'll be denied his seat. But with this forthcoming, his life would, well, change pretty drastically. Some of the Jedi Order, well, would shun him rightfully, and some would, well, agree with his, well, they would be happy for him that he's found love, even though through the rigorous training of the Jedi and denouncing of passion, love, and all emotions, he would still be able to, well, form connections. And, well, 3 years later, a young boy will be born. Naruto Uzumaki will be born. Even though Jedi, they could not stop them from being romantically involved. Even if they were to banish them both, they would still be together and create an offspring. So, to ensure Jedi Order and to not create any, well, future Sith or dark Jedi, they would allow their relationship to blossom, and they would be married officially and recognized by the Jedi Council and by the people of Coruscant, which, well, Minato would become practically the poster boy of the Jedi Order, showing others that, well, Jedi did have emotions. They could love each other. They could be just like any other citizen of the Republic, the Great Republic. And well, Minato and Kushina's relationship would have a lot of notoriety and public fame, and the public would generally agree and like the Jedi Order a little bit more, even though with their scrutiny and abduction of taking away four sensitive children, they will still, with a marriage of them and the birth of a child of Naruto Uzumaki, the public will be more at ease and less, angry towards Jedi Order. Yes, but still, this boy was born Naruto Uzumaki, having a very high metachlorine count of just shy of 16,500, almost reaching 16,500. A very astonishing metachlorine count. Well, practically the second highest metachlorine count in the order, only second to, Grandmaster Yoda, in fact, with a metachlorine count of, 17,000. With this astonishing ability in the Force, they would the council members would automatically agree that he will directly be trained by, the council members themselves. Minato would directly train his son, same as for Kushina. And Grandmaster Yoda, of course, would teach Naruto like how he would teach all the other trainees, all the other initiates. Because if they show favoritism, he will gain ego and pride. That pride can lead to the dark side in some cases, which they will definitely not allow. So, with intense training, 4 years after the birth of Naruto, he'll be allowed to begin his Jedi training. His actual Jedi training, he would realize he would have Force ability, even though Naruto truly, somewhat consciously, he would realize that he knows that others can't use this ability, but he just uses it to lift objects and play with toys and lift books and various such things before he truly began his training with other Force sensitives. So at the age of 4, at the youngest age possible, at the age of 4, he'll begin his training with other members in his class, consisting of the standard 20 other Force sensitives ranging from the ages of 4 to 8. Some directly at the age of 4, and some at the age of 8, which have been training for a few years, or some that have been found late and only recently, and even though they're a bit younger, they're still allowed to join the Jedi Order because of their high degree of Force sensitivity. This is very shocking to the Jedi Order, especially to Grandmaster Yoda. He's been sensing in the Force how, for some reason, it's cloudy. His visions aren't as strong or potent as they used to be. He feels that the dark side is stirring. It's, growing slightly stronger, but he doesn't know why. And for some reason, this could be a side effect of all the Force sensitive children that have been born recently. In the past, decade, truthfully, there's been a high number, an irregular amount of Force sensitives. At the time, in 10 years, there should be, a few dozen, not dozen, a few hundred Force sensitives that will be joining the Jedi Order. But for some reason, this year, in the last 10 years, 1,000 Force sensitive children have been found with, designated by the Jedi Finders in the secondary branches, in the subservient branches. There's been over 1,000 Force sensitive children that have been found with over 11,000 metachlorine counts. That's average for a Jedi Knight, a Jedi. They would all most likely be able to join the main Jedi Order, at least most of them should be with a metachlorine count of 11,000. And specifically in the class that Naruto's in, the Jedi Council members have concluded that, well, they should make a special branch. Well, just as one class of the more adept initiates, still showing them the same training as any other class would, but a more, well, genius group. But they all believe they're normal, all regular students. And some of them will be, well, of course, Naruto Uzumaki with a high metachlorine count. Another one will be, well, a human male. A Sasuke Uchiha with, well, black dark hair and dark blue eyes. Well, he's very, well, strong force user. He had a high metachlorine count when he was found. Well, 15,800, a very high metachlorine count. Well, higher than, well, even Minato's. And a majority of the council members. And some other would consist of, well, a Sakura Haruno. Metachlorine count of, well, 14,100. She was a young Twi'lek girl that was, well, surprisingly by Jedi Order, force sensitive, even though the Twi'lek race happens, well, don't have a strong affinity to the Force, but this was a shock to her people, and gladly would allow the Jedi to take the young Twi'lek girl, for she may improve the public image of the Twi'leks. Another young Force sensitive was a young Wookiee, well, young for, well, his people's age. He was about 8 years old. And, well, he's Force sensitive. He had a metachlorine count of, well, 13,500, above average. A very good amount of metachlorine count. His name in, well, translated to basic was Choji. But in his Wookiee tongue, well, Yoda didn't try to pronounce it. Because, well, he can't really pronounce anything. But another, and, well, special case that was allowed into Jedi Order, well, was Hinata Hyuga. Well, she was a special case. She's at 8 years old, a very late find, and this was pushing on the age, but with her rare affinity to the Force, and rare by she didn't have a massive metachlorine count like Naruto or Sasuke. She only had a metachlorine count of, well, just a little bit above 14,200. A very high. And, well, with training, she would definitely become a fine Jedi Knight, even a master, if she would train very intensely. But with her special case was just because she had a very strong affinity to the light side of the Force. Not as such, well, about coming forth a high metachlorine count, but just that the light side of Force flowed through her very radiantly, and she would shine off a bright light, well, when being stared at by, well, Force user that had, well, a metachlorine count of, well, 15,000 or higher. With, well, the Force flowing through her, even though she didn't have, well, eyes, in fact. She didn't have eyes. Well, not going into detail, they found her, well, as an orphan. And, well, she was in an orphanage, well, surprisingly here on Coruscant, which, for some reason, they didn't know how they didn't find her at such a young age. But still, they didn't know how she lost her eyes. Because in the last 8 years, not much is known on, well, her history, on medical history. She didn't have much of a history outright, barely any documents. And once a Jedi found her, sensed her through the Force. He felt like she was very strong in the Force, but she was missing eyes. So, once finding her and taking her into Jedi Order, well, they would give her cybernetics, pale white eyes. But with these cybernetics, she was able to see. Not as, of course, as great as a normal regular eyes, but her eyesight was adequate enough to see the body and the figure. I'll just say right now, both her eyes are roughly like 20/40, each of them. Okay, okay, they're okay, but not the best. But still, the light side of force radiated through her, and she was able to use high level force powers, even though with her above very good amount of metachlorine count. She was able to use abilities that she shouldn't be able to use, of course. When they found her, the Jedi Knight actually had to chase her down because she was running away, thought he was, a pursuer, a kidnapper. She used force speed and force valor. Force speed, a common ability among, at least Padawans and Jedi Knights, of course, but not of a 8-year-old girl, of course. She was able to, with her small, body and figure and stature, and while using the force to amplify her speed, of course, she was able to, evade the Jedi Knight that was sent after her to, find her. But of course, he eventually caught up to her and brought her to Jedi Order. But with this class of just such a high level force sensitivity and various other members in this initiate class, the Grandmaster Yoda, he's very happy to see such a strong generation, a new generation of Jedi Knights. Even though the dark side feels a stirring, he has a sense of pride and a sense of hope. But specifically, this class of initiates will do great things in his life and their lives. It will strengthen Jedi Order for future generations to come. But that's enough from Jedi Master Yoda in his mind. He seizes these thoughts. Then he tells all of the initiates, welcome. Some of you, have been in the Jedi Order for a few years now, and some, this is your first class. But we'll begin the basics. Form 1. We'll be teaching the basics of Form 1. This form is called Chi-Cho. I will give you a basic history. Many millennia ago, before the lightsaber was created, swords, long swords, and vibro blades were used. But during this era of transition, when the lightsaber was made, the Jedi Order transitioned from the sword to, of course, the lightsaber. And this is where Chi-Cho came forth. This form is, the basic stances and, attacks and formations used in swordplay that are still used today by many cultures. And you will begin to learn the basics today. Now, I will let our battle master begin your teachings. And Yoda will, leave the initiates to, the Jedi battle instructor. And he'll say, all four will begin training now. And all the Jedi initiates will, put, these helmets on their heads. And they couldn't see anything, but these droids will float above them. And you'll say, this training, you will just begin right now. You will block the impending, stuns that will come towards you, that will be fired out of this droid. And you'll use your training saber to, block them, deflect them. You need to reach out with the Force. We are all gifted in the Force. Some in various ways. Some more than others, some less. But we all are unique and have our own gifts. Which is why you should use them now. You need to reach out with the Force. Feel where you'll be hit through the Force. Hit by this projectile. You will block it. Just close your eyes. Feel the Force around you. It binds us. It binds all the living things. It penetrates us. It flows through everything. You all are an embodiment of living force. So now use a cosmic force. Channel it through you and block the impending attacks. Now we will begin. And a lot of blaster bolts be fired at the initiates very slowly, and set on stun, the lowest level it can be at. And some will get hit, but it's like a little beast thing practically. That's what they're feeling. Enough that they realize, oh, I got hit. I better practice more and focus more. Channel the force through myself. And Naruto, specifically Naruto and Sasuke, and Hinata, all three of them would not get hit once during the training practice. They have such a high metachlorine count, they can just sense it through the force, specifically Naruto and Sasuke. They know directly where it's going to come, even before. They know where they're going to get shot.